This is Sydney from Dolezal, and you're watching Wheeler's Weekend Jams live and direct.
Wheeler's Weekend Jams live and direct.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in on another lovely episode of Wheeler's Weekend Jams live and direct. Today we are talking with Sydney from the band Dolezal. They have been hitting it big since 2015 with their debut release, rocking beautiful melodies like the Go-Go's fused with punk rock dynamics. Dolezal are hitting the world by storm and are about to release their new album, Manic Pixie Dream Girl, which drops on June 16th. Sydney, thanks for joining us today. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Well, let's just get right into it. What were the beginning stages of Dolezal? When did you guys all meet up and form the band?
It's actually pretty cool because we all met at this after-school program thing. It wasn't really hooked up with any schools. It was called the School of Rock. Okay. And we all took lessons there, and we all kind of just hung out there all the time. And our drummer, Megan, she was a junior at Desert Mountain High School in Arizona. And they have this like Battle of the Bands every year, which is actually pretty cool. It's like a real Battle of the Bands. Usually when you think of high school Battle of the Bands, it's like 3 bands that play either heavy music or really shitty music, you know?
Exactly.
But this one was like really legit. There was a teacher at the school that really wanted to have a really cool Battle of the Bands, and so she got us together for that. And there was like a good 15, 20 bands that were performing. It was awesome. And we ended up doing really well. It was our first performance, you know, and so Megan got the 4 of us together, and it was our first performance ever, and like as a band. We had all been performing in the School of Rock, but as a band, it was our first performance, and we ended up winning. And so we were like, okay, cool. Well, we weren't planning on this being a real band, but it would be kind of cool to keep this going because people like us, you know, like everyone at the Battle of the Bands was like, you guys were really good. So we ended up between that year and the next one and the next Battle of the Bands, we ended up like playing around Phoenix a little bit, kind of playing more local shows, writing more music. Mm-hmm. And actually, that's where we met our manager, David Ellison. He was a guest judge at the school's Battle of the Bands the first year and the second year that we did it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the first year he said we were really good. You know, he kind of complimented us, got a picture with us, and then kind of watched what we did for that year because he knew it was our first show, so he didn't want to, like, pursue anything after our first show. He wanted to see if we were legit. Yeah. And then after we did the second year, he kind of contacted us, and he was like, hey, so what do you guys think about having a meeting? And then at the meeting, we discussed management, and it was actually, like, mind-blowing, you know?
Yeah. That's interesting. Well, that's cool. You guys kind of got into it right away, since it's really hard to get in the music industry. But how old were you when you knew you wanted to become a musician?
Well, I mean, kind of all my life, I've been into being a performer and an entertainer, you know. Like in the 7th grade, I did a play. I did the Little Mermaid, and I was Ariel. And that was kind of one of the first times I kind of put it together in my head that I wanted to be an entertainer. Yeah. But I had been singing, you know. I'd always been kind of entertaining the idea of being a singer. But I was always into pop music, so I was like, oh, I'm going to be like the next Hannah Montana, you know. Like, I want to be as big as One Direction one of these days, you know, but one day I went and saw my cousin, who was in the School of Rock before me, my cousin Logan. He was a drummer, and he was playing with the School of Rock at a bar in Phoenix, and so I went with my dad to go watch him. And, like, as soon as the set was over, I was like, that's what I want to do, you know? Like, I looked at my dad, I remember, like, looking at my dad being like, okay, can I get enrolled, like, right now? Like, can I do the School of Rock? Like, this is what I want to do. Screw Little Mermaid. Screw being One Direction. I want to be in a rock band. So
the motivation was there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was about 8th grade, kind of end of 7th grade, beginning of 8th grade. I decided, and actually, Dolezal got started when I was in 8th grade.
Oh wow, cool. Well, tell us about this new release, your second album, Manic Pixie Dream Girl, which will be coming out on June 16th. Tell us how the recording process was with this album, and what was your guys' dynamic on this album?
So this album, I feel so much more proud of this album than the first one because we've done a lot of touring since the first album, you know, and we've met a lot of musicians, and we've talked to a lot of people about their process and how they write, how they tour and their sound and stuff. And when we were on tour with OTEP, like, we ended up going home after an OTEP tour and writing a couple more heavy songs because we were so influenced by the heavy aspect of OTEP.
Yeah.
And whenever we meet new bands, we kind of go home after that tour and kind of write a little bit like them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which is why Manic Pixie Dream Girl is going to be it's so, like, the diversity of the sounds is so, like, massive because we went on tour with a lot of diverse bands, you know?
Yeah.
And it helped us find... Granted, we don't have a singular sound, you know? We have all these different sounds, you know? So it's like, it helped us find that we don't have a genre, you know?
Exactly. Which is good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we weren't trying to sound like anybody. We were just like, oh, well, this is cool and heavy. Let's try to write something that's a little heavier. Or, oh, this is kind of cool and, like, bluesy. Let's kind of put this little aspect into the song, you know?
Yeah.
And so this album, and what I also really like about it is that the topics that it covers are not, you know, just boys and school and whatever, you know? It's like, it's not even just emotional stuff. It's like, there's a song about serial killers. There's a song that we wrote that it's like we took experiences that we learned from talking to people on the road and we wrote about that, you know. So some of the songs like don't have a personal meaning to us, but they have a meaning to someone that we talk to, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's our interpretation of it.
Do you have any songs relating on Donald Trump?
See, we have a song that was inspired by how the country reacted to Donald Trump.
Ah, nice.
How specifically, you know, the Midwest, South region of this country has responded to Trump. It's one of my favorite songs. It's our punk song. It's called Punch a Nazi.
Nice. Nice.
And it's literally, like, it's a song, like, the lyrics talk about how it's, like the chorus specifically, it's like, don't call it alt-right. Like, don't say that it's all-right. Like, you're Nazis. Like,
yeah.
And I'm going to punch you in the face if I get the chance. Like,
cool. That's good because, you know, like, music in the 70s and 80s, like, I feel like a lot of bands had a lot to say because those were, like, really crazy times, you know, I mean, especially during Vietnam and stuff. But now, I think more than ever, bands should be really broadening their horizons on the whole political aspect on what's going on in the world right now because we're living in some scary times. And I still think there's not enough music out there that that talks about what's going on. And I think more bands should do that. So that's good. At least you guys have a song that, you know, that's what's happening in the world right now.
I totally agree. Everything is, like, really generic. Everything's really, like, cut dry, just kind of like, oh, what do the kids listen to? What is relatable to the children? Like, who cares?
Exactly.
Like, if you feel passionate about something, write about it. Like, write a song about it.
That's right. Don't be scared. Yeah, be honest.
Exactly.
Now, you guys are, your upcoming tour, you're going to be hitting on Warped Tour this year. When are you guys going to be hitting on the road, and what are the fans going to be expecting on these Warped Tour shows?
We are only on the first week of Warped Tour. We're on it from June 16th to the 25th, which is, like, the West Coast states that don't include California. And we have been preparing for this ever since we found out, like, almost a year ago. Like, we found out forever ago that we were going to be on this, and ever since we found out, we were like, let's prepare now for Warped Tour. So we've been honing in our sound. We've been honing in, you know, like, how we want to perform, and, like, we've been talking to other bands on Warped Tour, you know, trying to figure out the best way to make this the most successful Warped Tour, you know, because it's our first time, and we don't want to get on board and be like, wow, this is really difficult, or wow, that sucked because we weren't prepared, you know. So we've a lot of preparation, and we feel like we're going to be putting more than 100% into our performances because we really want to gain as many fans as possible and impress as many people as possible, because that's kind of, you know, Warped Tour is just a big way to find new bands, and so we feel like it's going to be a really cool opportunity for fans, for people who don't know us, to see us and to become new fans.
That's awesome. Yeah, you guys are still at the very beginning, so I wish you luck on all that.
Thank you.
Now, if there was one person you would like to thank for getting you into music from the beginning and helped you on your musical path, who would that one person be?
Oh, geez. I mean, I've got a lot of people in my life, like, directly in my life, that have really helped me. Like, my parents are so supportive, you know, like, they've gone on tour with us, for crying out loud. Like, they're so supportive. They really want this to happen.
Yeah.
But in terms of people that have, like, inspired me, there's this one band that inspired me to get, or that kind of, like, switched my mind to rock music rather than pop music. The band Pierce the Veil, their singer, he, like, their music, I because his voice is really high-pitched and because their music isn't super heavy, like, it was really easy for me to transition from pop music to listening to them and then into heavier, into, like, other music, you know?
Yes.
And their music has not only helped me, like, realize what I wanted to do in music, you know, but it's really been inspiring in terms of, like, how I sing and, like, how I perform and what I want to accomplish with my music, you know. And so Pierce the Veil has been a really huge inspiration in me becoming who I am as a musician. But I mean, I really just have to hammer in the whole thing about my parents, you know. Because they've just, I would not be where I am without my parents, you know, how supportive they are. And then David Ellison, our manager, he's given us that leg up on the industry. You know, he likes to say he made all the mistakes for us.
Nice. That's awesome. Big shout out to Pierce the Veil. Now I have one more question for you. I've been asking this question for a couple of years, but it never gets old because I love to see the reactions and hearing the answers. But if you had to compare your band to a movie, what movie would it be and why?
Ooh. Wow. That's a good question.
It's a thinker.
Yeah, that's a real good thinker. I mean, in terms of our new album, I would compare us, especially, it really showed in our music video that we just released, but I would really compare us to Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I just feel like that whole vibe is kind of like what we give off, you know, like the playful, funny, but like kind of chill kind of thing. I don't know, like our music video was actually really inspired by Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and the whole Manic Pixie Dream Girl concept came from a lot from that movie.
Oh, nice.
And so I would, I'd say that's such a good question.
I guarantee in like an hour from now, you'll probably come up with even more. You'll be like, oh, wait, I should have said that. That's usually how it always goes. Well, Sydney, thank you so much. If there's anything you want to say to the fans out there and where to find you guys on the internet, go right ahead.
What I want to say to potential fans and to people that are listening that are already fans, thank you so much for your support. We do this for you guys. If you want to learn more about us, we have a website, dollskinband.com, or you can find us on social media. It's just Dollskin Band on Facebook, at Dollskin Band on Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, Snapchat, so we've got it all. You can keep in touch with us on every single platform, basically, except for MySpace.
MySpace, old school. Well, Sydney, thank you so much. Thanks for everyone who tuned in on this interview. Make sure to check out our website at WheelersWeekendJams.com. And if you like what we do and you want to help us create more interviews for the future, head on over to our Patreon page. Just go to patreon.com/WWJ. It's kind of like a Kickstarter for content creators. We'll always have videos available for free on there. But if you want to chip in $1 or $2 every time we release a piece of content, it would really keep us, it would help us get more interviews for the future. And make sure to tune in this coming September. We're throwing our second annual Wheelers Jam Nation concert. It's going to be in Chicago at the Elbow Room, September 9th. We got 7 great bands on the bill. So yeah, check out our website. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and all that good stuff. Sydney, thanks again for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, no problem.